We just have to hope this is working. I was trying to sleep, but should I let my neuroticism check if it's recording again, even though I just did for the previous video and it did? Do I want to believe in the universe? Yes, I'm letting go. If I can hear, I can hear. If I can't, I can't. I wanted to sleep, but my mind was too noisy, so I thought I would do one of these. I'm in Himachal Pradesh, in Tirthan Valley now. It's pretty awesome. I feel like this trip had turning points. The Uti trip and then the Sayadri trip. Um, and Sayadri kind of, I feel like since then, it was kind of like destiny led me to come to Tirthan Valley. And since going to Sayadri, I feel like this spiritual quest has kind of been like reinvigorated within myself, which I feel like was quieted for a long time. And I had a moment right now with a friend where I kind of don't want to see myself as I talk. Like, what happens if I do this? Let's see. Boom. Versus still recording, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, I can just turn the. Let me try this. I've never tried this. Where I'm just now talking. Usually I'm like looking at myself as I talk on the camera, but this time I'm not. Because I turned the brightness all the way down. We'll see. I was talking to a friend. And I have a lot to say. Basically, so she was kind of just like explaining like a part of her life, and I was doing that as well. Um, I had just like broken down and just explained that second week of going to UCSD and what it was like, going the boothing to find Teak, and then all the rush process that week, and the pledging, kind of that, just that 1 week of that that first time blacking out, and then the beach and dropping the football, and the house party with John's Edible. And these are just, even as I said John's Edible right now, I was just thinking, I was like, oh, but what about this? What about that? But I'm like, you know what? It's a part of my life. If you can't live your life in an honest way where you can genuinely speak what has happened in your life and be like, this is my life, this has happened, these are things I've done, then I don't understand, like, what are the type of industries and things that we're building if, like, we cannot, I don't know, I don't know, what a whack way, like, everyone just has to, like, it's not like people aren't doing it. If that was the case, that's different. Let's say, for example, corporate culture is like, we condemn these type of behaviors, and then people don't do it. That's one thing. But it's like, people do the behavior and then are like, oh, but I'm just gonna hide it so I can still like look professional. There's no point in doing that. It's just then like, I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, look, either the culture itself has to change because nobody is hitting the standard that they expect for professionalism, or people need to change. But that's a whole story on its own. But yes, so it does bother me a little, I think. So we were explaining that whole story, right? And it made me feel kind of, there's two kind of pathways to go down this. But the immediate feeling I felt was, I'm not going to put a word to the feeling, but let's just say it was a feeling of missing out, in the fact that, like, with every human you meet, especially as you get older and older, you become acutely aware of how much of their life you weren't a part of. When I meet someone now, I wasn't there for 26 years of their life. whatever, 27, 30, 40, 50, like many years of their life are like a hidden shroud to me. It's a mystery. And that mystery is really exciting to like discover and learn. But the other part of it is that you just will never learn enough, right? Like there's many ways to summarize your life. You can summarize your life in 10 minutes. You can do it in 1 hour. You can do it in 1 week. You can do it in 1 year. I mean, you could really break down every moment that you remember, which would be, I don't even know how long, how long would it be if I just broke down every moment I remember? Not even like its implication or what it meant or why I remember, just what happened. Like, let's just try to find an obscure detail you remember. Let's try to do something from high school. Like, I mean, there's so many. I mean, it's like, remember when you won that sweater from Key Club? When they made you do some dance or something in front of everyone, and then you won Key Club as a freshman. I won that sweater. I mean, it's such a brand. I don't even know why I remember that, but yeah, I wonder if I still have that Key Club sweater somewhere. Um, or when you set up, these are bigger memories. These aren't obscure, but when you set up that fundraising event at whatever burger spot that was for DECA, or when you snuck out Appa's car, Lexus, and like took like Parita and a bunch of other people out, and then he knew, but then I told him we just sat in the car and listened to music, but we had actually driven it to like Union City to get food, and came back. Yeah, I snuck Appa's Lexus out a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times. That was crazy. When I was like 17 or 18. That was 8 years ago. Um, don't get mad at me if you hear this. um, but it's just like, yeah, there's a part that you'll never just see, you'll never be there. So here's the question: why does that make you feel some type of way? And I was thinking about it. And it's the realization that life is happening outside of your perception, which is like a really hard pill to swallow. Like to truly, I don't know, if it's truly recognize so much life is happening outside of your perception is hard. It's just so easy to like be like all of life that is happening is just in front of me right now at this moment. This is all of the universe. To like truly, I think that has to be like that only child thing. Really, like, why is it so hard for me to comprehend that everyone has such complex lives? At the same time, I have such a hard time comprehending that. And I think, we were talking about this earlier of just some people force you to recognize that. Varsha, Abhijit, I'm trying to think who else like forces you to recognize that. I think that's like the kind of draw towards celebrities, right? I mean, you interact with LeBron, you have to comprehend the fact that like they live such different lives from you, that like it's very evident that their perception of reality is also happening at such an extreme level that's not yours. So celebrities and music, those are easy, right? But like uh the other like people who are not at that are also experiencing such complex lives. So everyone is, right? Every person is experiencing, it's just you can't minimize humans, and I think that's what the way you navigate the world, because I'm going through this period where I'm meeting so many people to truly comprehend every single person's depth of existence is just too much. Like for example, like this guy that I met at the campsite today. He was the dude who was like cooking there, but he just seemed like such a nice guy. He was so loving to this dog that was there, Rinky, and like just so loving. And I'm like, dude, I really wanted to know him, and he was just such a positive presence. We didn't really even say a single thing to each other except hi. I don't even know if I said bye. But his presence really like impacted me, just his smile. And so I'm like, damn, like he has a whole life behind him. 30 years maybe of just things that I don't know at all. Right? I mean, you can tell, right? You can be like, okay, well, I was born here, as if that like summarizes 1 year. And then I was born in Tengasi, and then I moved to the US. And then, like, what would I say next? I went to UCSD. So as if 18 years of my life was just summarized by those 10 seconds. But that's not true. How many, 18 years of things happened. And so that's the same thing with anybody. And so kind of just like comprehending the depth of someone's life, I think, is very important. My mind I got distracted by some random thought. And so that's one part of it, right? So that's one reason why when someone shares their stories, I can feel upset. Now, there's another part to it. Sometimes when people share their stories, I'm so interested, I'm so excited, I want to know more. And then other times, I'm a bit more jealous. And so this time it happened when Saba was a friend who was sharing about her life. I feel like that relationship also is a very specific one that like creates situations that lead to jealousy more. Can I say one thing? I'm really glad I have, at the very least, these videos to talk like this. To really like break every single thing down and kind of analyze what it means to me and just be crazy with every small little detail that I want to talk about for as long as I want. It kind of begs the question of like, there's a lot of times I just want to talk. I want to be heard and I want to talk. I just want to keep talking. There's nothing wrong with that either, I think. I don't know, I just have a lot to say. And I feel like no one really cares to listen. Except me. So why not just keep talking to myself? Like, I'm interested, seriously. But at what point does that become kind of like, I don't know, odd? What is odd? I think like the type of stories people can tell you as well can, I think, lead you to be more like upset by the stories they say. There's stories that can like inspire awe. There's also stories that can inspire, I don't know, jealousy, envy. Like, it depends on how they're saying it, why they're saying it. But I'm at that point of my cold where I have that like smell where I know it's like going away. It's always my favorite like peak of the cold where I'm like, okay, it's getting better from here. Pretty quick. I'm proud of myself for handling it on my own this time. The second time I got sick in India, not bad. The first one was bad. The first one was super bad. But I also think like when you're living a life that's like super like dependent. So when I was staying in Devakote, I was super dependent on Uman, Aya. It's easier for sickness to take over your life fully because it's like you're already not doing much. Now the sickness is taking over. You're like, I'm done. But when you have to be responsible for everything, when you get sick, it's kind of just like, I'm sick. I still have to be responsible for everything. Otherwise, I'm dying. So it's like your sickness isn't that like pervasive of your life. And I don't know, reading the Ikigai book, I just realized like, damn, dude, there's a huge difference between like the quality of life in terms of if you prioritize health between those who are like rich. And I'm not even gonna use the word rich. I mean, I have something to say about that separately. But the people who live lives that are very like outcome oriented, but like aren't really health centric, like health centric. And I feel like, I don't know, when I'm talking to Pavan here, Pavan's this amazing guy that that works at this homestay, and we've just been friends. I don't, in my head, like friends. It's been really nice hanging out with them all the time. Um, he actually makes me very happy, and the family I'm staying with makes me really really happy. Very wholesome. Um, like they live such healthy lives. They're like walking so much. Like he told me he walked some like 100 kilometers or something in like a few days, like 1 or 2 days or 1 day or something like that. It's an insane amount. I like walked today for like 3 kilometers. I was like, damn, I did something. Like, because I walked to the school and then back I met Parth. And yeah, uh, I'm curious to see. I'm going tomorrow. I don't know what time, maybe 10, but we'll see. Yeah, I had a moment. I saw some like NBA stats. I had a kind of surreal moment where I was just like, dude, I don't know a lot of these players. Like, I mean, I'm curious how that even works. So, like, okay, a rookie comes into the league, and then every year you kind of like know, you know, like if I was to look at like how many years does it take before like I figure out a rookie? Usually, I feel a year or two, like from every draft class, perhaps like 10 stay like in relevancy, and then like another like 10 play like role player roles for a while, and then everyone else just like falls out. There's probably 20 from each class that like stay for a decent amount of time to where you remember. There's this dude, like I think on the Jazz, Walker Kessler or something. I know he was like a high draft pick, but I don't know who he is. But he also plays for the Jazz. But just like when I like look at a lot of these teams, I'm like, dang, outside of like the first five, like the starters and maybe like one player off the bench, like I no longer know like deep into the. It's also because I don't play fantasy. I feel like if I played fantasy, I'd know everyone. But I definitely would. It's like uh, sports is a whole interesting thing. Because like a part of me is so like I don't know, like just disengaged from basketball, but I love playing and I definitely want to play. And I love watching. I love like admiring what they do and how difficult it is. I want the Lakers to win, but I just don't think they're. But the thing is, like, I don't even think they really care anymore. Like, I just watched I watched this press conference. I didn't watch it, but I just saw the thumbnail of the press conference. I saw it for like 3 seconds, and it was like LeBron and AD, and they had lost yesterday by a lot to the Nuggets. LeBron was just like smiling. He played 29 minutes or something, like 21 points, like, and he was just talking like it was just chill. But I was like, dude, that many years into your league, your son almost dying from a cardiac arrest, and like, being okay, and still having an amazing wife and a daughter and another son, and one of them going to USC, and you being a billionaire, like, dude, at what point do you still have that same drive you had when you didn't have any of that, right? Like, you're just not going to be that driven. I mean, at some point, once I think you hit that point in anything you do in your life where you're like, oh, even if it doesn't work out, it's okay. I think that's when there's this spiritual divide that happens between those who have like another reason to do it that has nothing to do with, oh, if this doesn't work out, then like my life is meaningless, versus those who like are just like, oh, then why even try hard? It doesn't mean much, right? Because like you can't delude yourself into thinking every small thing is the whole thing. Like college applications is another. I feel like a more uh, example that affects everyone. Like in high school, making it feel like that decision is going to be like the biggest decision ever, and your whole life will end if you don't go to the school that you want to. It's just not true. Life moves on no matter where you go, no matter what happens. Life moves on, and so it's like, and more often than not, whatever happens after that, you'll figure it out. From the U.S. context, for a lot of people, right? I mean, if you whatever the pathway is, it's not like, oh, I didn't get into Harvard the first time, my life is screwed. Like it's never like that. So it's kind of this idea that okay, so you can't tweak out, so you can't like fully be like, all right, I'm tweaking out too hard, like my whole life matters on this, but that doesn't also mean like you shouldn't put your best foot forward. It just shouldn't be inspired by the belief that if you don't get what you wanted, what you set out to, your whole life is meaningless. But there needs to be another intention that still spurs 130% effort. And that I think is the magic. I don't know what it is. That's not like low self-confidence of like I have to achieve this otherwise I'm meaningless. Therefore I put my all. That's something I feel like I've been thinking about a lot recently. Um, I don't know. I do think as of late I've been learning a lot and I've been having the space to really think about myself and what my role is in this world. I think this whole kind of thing, this whole situation with Saba kind of just like messed my head up a bit, but I need to like figure out what it is exactly. Like, what does love really mean to you? I mean, really, and like, what, why am I so, why do I desire affection from, like, literally, I mean, just such, I don't think a person is toxic. I think a relationship can be toxic. And our relationship definitely is. But, again, why? What does that mean? Was it always? No. Is it now? Yes. I think nighttime in general, yeah. But yeah. Okay, that's it. I don't know. Has it been like minutes already? I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna guess 28. 21, not close. Bye bye. Love you.